Good morning. Oh, what a glorious day it is. What a glorious day we had yesterday. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So welcome to Unity of Lexington Sunday service. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome here. And I'm so glad you've decided to spend some time with me this morning. So thank you to everyone who's supporting our spiritual community. I recently bought a financial program, which was a little pricey. And hi, Judy. Love you. And we have other expenses that go on even though we're not meeting in person. So please see your way clear to support our spiritual community and our meaningful ministry. I really appreciate it. So if you wish to donate, you can go to Facebook and hit the Shop Now button, or you can go to our website and there's a button there for a donation. Hi, Wendy. So glad you're with me. All right. If you're tuning in for the very first time, and you may be, I know we have some new people that had responded and RSVP'd from Meetup, and I'm so glad you're with us. And this only lasts about max 40 minutes, and occasionally I might go over, but for the most part, it's somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes. I also like to again announce there's going to be a joint Zoom memorial service in honor of Ron Headley with us, Unity of Lexington, and Ahava here in town, both churches of which he attended. And it will be September 26th on a Saturday at 3 p.m. And there will be more details forthcoming. Hi, Patricia. Good morning. So we're without an IT technician, Ron having made his transition. So if you know of anyone that would be interested, it is a paying position. And we would be happy to have someone step up. Right now, my daughter Caroline is helping, and I really appreciate that. I don't know what I'd do without her help. She's also putting this service on YouTube later on in the day. So let's go to our Unity prayer list. And remember, there is so much power in shared intention. And that's really what prayer is all of a communal prayer. It's all of us sharing a sacred intention together. So please hold in prayer for peace and harmony in our community, our nation, and our world. So needed right now. We're praying for Nicole and Leslie and all the first responders, frontline and essential workers. For healing, we're praying for my sister Diane, Nettie's sister Ginger, Donna, Charles, Pat, who's a member of our community, and Anthony for healing. And Charles is the brother of Carolyn. So if you'd like prayer support, please email me at RevCarolUnity, put an E on my first name, RevCarolUnity@gmail.com, and I will mention you on Sunday mornings. And we do follow the Silent Unity Prayer Ministry format and mention first names only to honor confidentiality. So we are very honored to support you in prayer. All right, speaking of prayer, let's open this morning with prayer, and I just invite you to well, we were going to have some music, but looks like it's not going to happen now, so I don't know what's going on here, but it's all right. All right, if you'll just close your outer eyes, if that's comfortable for you, and allow my words to be the words of your heart. That God power that created the universe out of itself also created us out of itself. If God is indeed infinite, then there's nothing else of which anything can be made. So we are a part of this evolving spiritual universe. Throughout our years here on this planet, we will constantly be called upon to grow and to evolve. We will constantly be called upon to change and to accept change. In those areas of our lives where we have been resisting that, we choose in this now moment no longer to resist it, We choose to abandon ourselves to that greater reality, that greater movement of spirit through us. We choose to find the beauty in our lives and in ourselves, the power in our lives and in ourselves, the abundance in our lives and in ourselves. We choose to find God, the Spirit, in our lives and in ourselves. So it is. And we pray these prayers this morning in and through and after the nature and the power of the living God, present in all creation, no matter the appearance. All right. Well, I had another reading chosen for this morning, and I'll share it at another time. But the daily word for today was so apropos that I thought it really would be the best choice. And this is taken from the little booklet, Daily Word, that Unity publishes. And you can go online and sign up for it. The word for today is world peace. And the affirmation for today is, I imagine a world transformed by peace and love. World peace begins with my mind and heart. Closing my eyes, I breathe deeply and envision every person bringing forth the love and peace of God. I see all the world's people surrounded by a healing light that transforms strife, anger, and division into reconciliation, peace, and unity. As I hold this vision, I see the entire world aglow with radiance. Harmony and cooperation heal the world's wounds and encourage love to flower in each person's heart. I carry this vision throughout my day. Divine love, expressing as me, sees oneness regardless of apparent differences. Divine wisdom and understanding illumine my thoughts, inspire my words, and guide me to act in ways that bring peace to the world. And I'd like to repeat that last sentence because it's so beautiful. Divine wisdom and understanding illumine my thoughts, inspire my words, and guide me to act in ways that bring peace to the world. And today's scripture is taken from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And again, the word for today is world peace. And the affirmation is, I imagine a world transformed by peace and love. And you know, that statement, that affirmation, reminds me so much of John Lennon's song, Imagine. And someday, we'll hopefully have some live music on each Sunday. I'm working on it diligently, and I'd love to have someone come on and sing and play that song. That would be so awesome. So, now we will go to our meditation, and let me check and see if I can figure out what's going on with this music. All right, well, it's just decided it doesn't want to do it today. Life happens. All right. So, this morning, the meditation I have to share with you is called a rainbow meditation. And again, allow my words to be your words of your heart. The living light of God is the truth of my soul. The presence of the Christ Spirit guides every sure step on the journey of life. Yes, the Christ, the presence of light, peace, joy, love, life, and substance is ever within, around, before, and beside me. I am divine spirit. I am a child of God. In God I live and move and have my being. And where there is light, there can be no darkness. I daily look to the light of truth and radiate the prismatic colors of my soul. As the rainbow hues of red and orange and yellow and green, blue, violet, and indigo pour their vibratory essence into my daily world, I hold the thought that whatever I do this day and every day, I do in light. Although clouds may appear on the horizon of my world, never for one moment does the promise of God's presence grow dim or fade. It shines freely, clearly, steadily, and brightly. I now mentally stepped into a blazing sphere of golden, brilliant light. I acknowledge the light. I live in the light. I work in the light. I play in the light. And I am lovingly enfolded in the light. The living, loving light of God is with me always. I am grateful and joyfully give thanks for the light and go forth now to do all that needs to be done by me. And so it is. Amen and amen. Well, the title of my talk this morning is Celebrating Graduation Day, and we'll begin in just a moment. I have a funny to share with you. Now, I am not advocating anyone do this, and this is apparently not a true story, but it's hilarious. And I can sort of imagine it if there was a real prankster out there. All right. It's called The Parking Ticket Story and Fun. I went to the store the other day, and I was in there only for about 5 minutes. When I came out of there was a darn motorcycle cop writing a parking ticket. So I went up to him and said, "Come on, buddy. How about giving a girl a break?" He ignored me and continued writing the ticket. So I called him a pencil-necked Nazi. He glared at me and started writing another ticket for having worn tires. So I called him a real twit. He finished the second ticket and put it on the windshield with the first. Then he started writing a third ticket. And this went on for about 20 minutes. The more I hassled him, the more tickets he wrote. I didn't care. My car was parked around the corner. I try to have a little fun each day. It's important. And then, of course, my mind went to the person that had all those tickets on their windshield and trying to tell the story in court. These... Oh, my goodness. And thinking, well, I hope, they say policemen don't always show up. And I thought, well, if he didn't show up, I don't know that they would believe it. So I don't think it's true, but it was hilariously funny. So I hope you enjoyed it. All right, the title of my program today, again, is is Celebrating Graduation Day, which is the last and final in the series, the Master's Program in Spirituality. And so we're celebrating our collective graduation today. And, this is one of the things that I so miss about meeting in person at the church, together as a community, wherever you meet. And we meet at a Montessori school. But I so miss that because we would have been doing this every Sunday for, five Sundays. And people would have come forward to get a certificate of graduation. And so we can't do that. However, I know there are those of you who are out there who have followed this each week and have earnestly been doing your best to practice the spiritual principles that I've been espousing each week. So for those of you who have, I will be happy to send you a certificate. All you need to do is private message me or email me at revcarolunity@gmail. Let me know on Facebook, however you want to do that. I'll be happy to send one to you. You can call me, 502-551-8962. Call me. I'll be happy to provide you with a certificate. So we're bringing the program to a close today by doing a couple of things. One, we're adding the final ingredient to the Master's Level Living Program. And two, we're introducing the 5th level of spiritual evolution. And as a brief reminder, we have continued every week to look at the Master's way of living using the example of the spiritual principle of oneness. So I see Wendy is saying she completed the whole 5 weeks and it's been wonderful. Congratulations, Wendy. I will be happy to send you a certificate. That's awesome. It doesn't surprise me. You are such a spiritual sojourner, fellow sojourner. I'm just amazed, but that's great. Let me know if you want a certificate. I'll be glad to send you one. All right, so we've been looking each week at Master's way of living using the example of the spiritual principle of oneness, and which is not living from the spiritual principle of oneness is not living from the why me level where I'm a victim in life, nor is it living from the by me level where we realize that we are empowered and not victims, and in fact, there is a universal law which responds to the direct impress of my thoughts and acts upon it. But we can get stuck in the materiality of it all, or in the thinking I am the one who makes it happen if we stay in the by me. That's the level where you say to yourself, oh, there's a universal force for good in the world and I can use it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't want to stay there. You want to move on and increase your awareness. So the principle of oneness isn't even living through the through me level where you recognize that God does things through you. And this is another powerful place to be, but it's not where you want to stay. The principle of oneness is living at the level of as me, where you realize and live from the realization that God walks as me, and that I am a direct and perfect expression of divine energy and of the divine source. And our master teacher, Jesus, lived, and he realized this level, and he lived from this place. So, just wanted to get all that as clear as I can, okay? So the final ingredient, let's explore that in the Master's Level Living this morning. And I'll start off by sharing with you a quote from Thomas Merton, a pretty wonderful monk. And Thomas Merton once said, "The spiritual life is first of all a life. It's not merely something to be known and studied, it is to be lived." And I think I mentioned this last week, that if we just study it and we don't really practice the principles and live the principles, then they just remain theory in our head. They just keep, rocking around in the head and not really accomplishing much. So he's right on about that. Master's level living means looking at day-to-day events differently. And how do I mean that? Well, our final ingredient for this series is taken from the cue from our master teacher, Jesus, who said, "Judge not by appearances, but judge by righteous judgment." And I'm going to speak to that word, righteous judgment. It's really important that I talk to you about the new thought, interpretation, and meaning of righteous judgment. So what is the meaning? When we are judging by appearances, we're looking at a condition we don't like, and we're saying, this is bad, be it a diagnosis, a relationship that's challenging, a work experience that's tough, an economic situation that we cannot quite see our way through. We're saying, this is bad. But if God is present everywhere, and we do believe in the omnipresence of God, if God is present everywhere, even in the midst of that which I'm not liking, even in the midst of that which I do not want, God is present. And that means that good is present whether I see it or not. And that is the truth with a capital T. So using the word righteous in New Thought, this is what is meant. First of all, what is not meant is righteous judgment in that I am more evolved than you, and I can judge you, and I can say what your punishment is, and that kind of thing. You know, and in many religions, that is what is meant by the word righteous, or the phrase righteous judgment. It's really the Old Testament form of judgment. We in New Thought are using the word righteous in the sense that it stands for right use of spiritual principles in our discernments. We call them discernments. So if we're trying to figure something out and discern something, we look at the spiritual principles that come into play in that experience or that situation or circumstance. Right use of universal principles in making a discernment or a judgment about something. That's what we're talking about. Quite different from the Old Testament meaning of the word righteous. The Old Testament meaning of the word righteous judgment is this kind of thing where the finger is shaking. That's not at all what we're talking about here. We're talking about the right use of spiritual principles. All right, Ernest Holmes wrote in Science of Mind, during the process of life, many things may happen that appear to be destructive. We may pass through good fortune and bad, but if we can come to the point where we are not disturbed by things, we have found the secret. If, as Jesus said, we judge not according to appearances. If we can judge in this manner, not according to appearances, Ernest Holmes says we can, out of any chaos, produce harmony. Wow, pretty good. Master's Level Living says that it's all God, so it's all good. All of it. The flowers and the manure. All of it. Master's Level Living is the opportunity for us to claim the good even though we don't quite see it yet. It's the same thing that our master teacher told us about. You know, I can see the harvest already. You guys are looking at nothing there even though the seed's been put in the ground, but I can see it really far down the road that it is going to come to pass. Ernest Holmes also said, let us learn to see as God must, with a perfect vision. Let us see the good and the true and believe in them with our whole heart, even though everyone we meet is filled with suffering and limitation appears at all sides. We cannot afford to believe in imperfection for a single second. To do so is to doubt God. It is to believe in a power apart from God. And it is to believe, he goes as far to say this, it is to believe in another creator with a little c. Let us daily say to ourselves, quote, perfect God within me, perfect life within me, which is good, which is God, come forth into expression through me as that which I am. Lead me ever into paths of perfection. Cause me to see only the good. I think if I just remembered that last phrase, cause me to see only the good, that would suffice. And I think that would be a great phrase to remember in a pandemic. Cause me to see only the good. I can tell you that daily I get up and ask Spirit to show me the blessing in this pandemic. And you know, that might be a really good talk at some point. I might put that together of the answers and what I've been shown. And I'm sure you could send me some examples too. So, cause me to see only the good. This is seeing God, the good, in everything. This is what this is all about. This is what the mystics and the saints, all the avatars have taught us for centuries and centuries, to look for the good in everything. Well, I have an article to share with you this morning that was written quite a long time ago, actually, but I still love the ideas that are found in it, and I have time to read it this morning. This appeared in Divine Science magazine, and I love that magazine, or Science of Mind magazine, I should say. And it was written by Reverend Jesse Jennings. I'm going to have to hold it up here because it's a little tiny print. And Reverend Jesse Jennings each month would answer questions that were sent in to the magazine. So this is what the question he received. If God is in everything, help me to see where God is in mental illness. The answer. The week I got your email, I received a question about where is God in rape and serial murder. I could use the allotted space discussing the nature of God, and if you like, I can refer you to fine books and articles pondering that. But theology is not what you or the other writer are really seeking right now. So I will reframe both questions. Consider that you are God's response to mental illness or violence or poverty or any of the long list of unwanted conditions that we perceive in our world. I'm going off the record here and say, consider that you are the response to the pandemic. Such conditions bother us. They stimulate us to seek remedies. People work to make things safer and healthier. This is good. Then the Science of Mind offers this as a stimulant to helpful ideas for a better world. And this is the advice that Science of Mind, the spiritual denomination Science of Mind, offers. After acknowledging a problem, let us focus attention on the desired outcome instead of the present appearance. This is what we were just talking about. We should not ignore problems. Rather, having perceived them as such, we affirm that at heart they carry their own answer. Wow. We see the problem and then we do our inner work embracing the positive opposite. How would it be if everyone on earth had great mental clarity and acumen? What would such a world look like? How would you or my life be different? Then we step into that reality in prayer, feeling as though it were actually so. If the positive opposite isn't what we're working toward, we're just rearranging or sidestepping effects. We may even ask ourselves, do we have some emotional investment in the problem persisting? And that's a common thing. Affirming a population not just free of mental illness, but fully mentally well, strong, and balanced will positively cause something to shift. Maybe some scientific breakthrough will come through those whose interests and expertise have prepared them to be a conduit. God is in everything, including medications and those who concoct and dispense them. But we can't predict how. So our job is to know what. Well, I really love that. That's so beautiful. And I really think the article is so much about vision. Would you agree with that? So much about vision. So when we pray, we don't think so much, and we try our best not to focus on the problem, but what we do is focus on the ideal and the vision. So what he's saying is, if someone is mentally ill, let's say it's someone that we love, that we're concerned about, we don't focus on their diagnosis. So we recognize and accept their diagnosis, but we don't focus on that. We don't focus on all the deleterious effects of mental illness and things of that nature. What we focus on is the vision that we hold for that loved one, that they will be mentally healthy, that they will think mentally healthy thoughts and be able to act upon them. And that's where we go. We go to that level where the eagle flies above the clouds of mental illness, to where the Son of God shines upon the vision that we hold for that person. So wonderful to be able to do that in prayer. All right. As usual, I'm off the track here, but not really. So this all means that in order for us to actually experience the greater good, we must interact with everything we see as if it were good. We've got to hold the vision for it that it's good. Now, sometimes we say, oh, it's all good, it's all God, and it's really kind of like wishful thinking. But if we're really living at the Master's level of spirituality, then we're saying that as a proclamation of truth with a capital T. It's all good. It's all God. That's when we're living at the Master's level. So what happens is, and how we practice this is, we become a voice for the good. We give up being a voice for what's wrong. We give up being the voice for how awful it is. We give up the voice for fear. We give up spreading that kind of voice into our workplace, our families, and our world. And rather, we become a place where the voice for good, the voice for hope, and the voice for praise can be heard. Master's level living. And as we interact with the good, because we've acknowledged it, because we've proclaimed it, we're interacting with it. We're carrying our energy into it. We're recognizing it. And the good is revealed as a result, because the universe loves us and wants to assist us and wants to be there for us, and so wants us to call upon it. When we hold our attention on it and we speak the good becomes greater and wider and more visible. Whereas maybe before we couldn't even recognize it until we became clear that the good was there. Master's level living. All right, so I've talked about the 4 levels of consciousness. And I promised you that today we would introduce the 5th level, or the 5th stage of consciousness. So we're going to take this 5th stage and combine it with everything else we've talked about all month. The 5th stage is beyond me. Now, beyond me, not meaning, if somebody says something and asks you a question, do you know something? No, it's beyond me. No, it's not like that. It's not the I don't know beyond me. Beyond me is saying it is more, it's about more than me. And we're calling this the messenger level. It's the recognition that it's beyond me and more than just me. The messenger being the one who chooses not to keep their brilliance and their gifts and their insights and their spiritual depth and their wisdom and their abundance and their love to themselves, but they desire in a completely and totally unselfish, unconditional way to share it with the world. All of those things I talked about. Sharing their spiritual depth and their insights, sharing their brilliance, sharing their wisdom, sharing their love, sharing their mercy and compassion and imagination, sharing their love with the world. That's what it means about being beyond me. If I go beyond me, then I'm sharing all those gifts that God has given me with the world. And this is a true recognition of our oneness. Through sacred service and sharing with the world, We reenact the givingness of God, and therefore we touch our own divine nature. We all have it. Everybody, all of you out there, you've got it. You got it. All right. Author Dennis Merritt Jones wrote in his book, The Art of Being, make no mistake about it. Service is not something you do only in your spare time. Every person in your life is there as an opportunity for you to remember why you've come here to earth. Every person, every event, every circumstance you encounter offers you a gift, yet another chance to love, serve, and remember love. And that's why you are here. Wow. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Notes from the Universe. You can sign up for those online. And Notes from the Universe are written by Mike. Okay, his name's escaping me right now. But anyway, you can just look up Notes from the Universe and you'll find them. And you can sign up for them and receive them in your email every day. So it's the universe speaking to you. And here's what the universe said one day in an email that I received when I was signed up. It's no accident that when you look closely into the eyes of another, the very first thing you see is yourself. That when you hold their hand, you can feel your own warmth. And that when you give of yourself, you give to yourself. Because quite simply, both you and they are me, the universe. So let's get it started, Sign the universe. Don't you love that? That's so wonderful. All right. Our fifth evolutionary stage is going beyond me. Going beyond me so that I can be the messenger of love and light and truth. So that you can be the messenger of love and light and truth. Oh, Patricia's telling me it's Mike Dooley. Thank you, Patricia. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Well, thank you, everybody, for participating each week this month. It's been so enlightening. And so now we can call one another Master, right? And again, if we were all together, we'd be just going around during fellowship saying, hey, Master. And when that, so I long for those days. I envision those days. And I know we'll once again be together someday. Oh, my goodness. All right. In closing, I share with you the prayer for protection. And it was written by James Dillett Freeman, Poet Laureate for Unity. And it's on the moon. So we'll speak that together this morning. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. And wherever we are, God is. And all is well. All right. I hope you have a wonderful week. And enjoy practicing being a master of spirituality. Congratulations to those of you who have really earnestly and are continuing to earnestly practice the principles in the Masters of Spirituality program. And I don't know what I'll be speaking about next week, but I'll be here and it'll be a surprise to me too. Because sometimes along about Tuesday, Spirit finally tells me what we're going to do. So I hope you'll be with me next week. And God bless you. I love you. Have a great week. Bye.